right. Thank you, Divya and Ishan, for taking the time. Really excited to have you here. The first question is, can you both share a little bit about yourselves?
Emily, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here. A little bit about me. I'm a marketer by profession. I've been in the function for about 14 plus years now, working in the edtech space. And wife and mom, wife of 12 years and mom of 4.
I'm Ishan. My claim to fame is I married Divya 12 years back after we dated for almost 10 years. So that's my claim to fame. Other than that, I've been an education entrepreneur, started 2 companies. One of them got sold. I was at also Udacity, which is a edtech company managing their India business and global ops. And I'm now SVP operations at Tala, which essentially provides loans to the underserved around the world.
What advice do you have for managers that are hiring or working with women who are pregnant or have just come back from mat leave or are just raising kids now?
I mean, hire them. There's nothing, their professional capability is same as before. I would actually assume it's stronger because nothing teaches you to prioritize and brutally prioritize like a kid does, right? So now you're actually getting back a person in your team who's probably not just a great professional, but a great professional who can prioritize and really focus, right? I'm a big believer of working with women teams. And my current job at Tala, our CEO is a female with twins. Our CTO, our CHRO, our CFO are all women, and they're all incredible leaders. Our head of brand, comms, like our leadership team is women majority, and I love that. Right, there is this intense focus towards just getting work done. So my advice to managers is don't think, take it as a blessing, and don't let that team member of yours go away. Or if you find a new person to join, just hire them. They'll be awesome at their work.
And I think it's kind of like what Ishan said, especially for moms coming back, is that the job is not done. The leave was for, if I were to take my example specifically, it was for me to, let's say, like my body to recover from the physical part of it, mental part of it. It was to also, on the side, create life and make sure that your child is looked after, and you're constantly sort of managing like a human being. It's not like a thing; it's an actual human being, and that doesn't change after 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever the time is. That's a continuous process. Now, like our son, he's 4 years old, but not a day has gone by that one can say, oh, he doesn't, like, nothing needs to be managed, or he's, completely self-sufficient. I mean, forget him. We're not like completely self-sufficient. We're dependent on each other. Sean has to make lunch. I have to fold the laundry. Stuff has to get done. And having a child, it doesn't end in a few weeks or a few months. It's a continuous process of managing. So I think what Ishan said is, it resonates that it's not over, but the job doesn't stop. So when you come back as a mom to the workplace, it can't be as it was before. Changes must happen, and society must accept that there is a huge change that has happened, but be able to accept it and make sort of, whether it's, policies around it or regulations, or whether it's company specific, be more warm and welcoming to the beautiful change that, someone or a family has gone through.
And just to add a couple of lines there, I think normalizing, that is important, right? So we don't expect men to always come properly dressed to work, especially in this remote environment, right? We also need to be able to normalize the fact that the lady who just came on the call might have just handed over her kid to a nanny or come back after something, and it's okay if the person needs a couple of minutes to just reset and come, or or the hair is not proper, or there is no like, none of that should matter in day-to-day work, especially in the world where we are heading to, right? We need to normalize that it doesn't matter. If one does it, great. If one doesn't, it's absolutely okay, right? So that would be my advice for managers, to help normalize the fact that you're running two lives, not one life.
And when you think back on the moms you've managed, whom you'd consider as among being your most valuable employees, what did they do differently that made them successful?
I think for me, they were very authentic about it. They didn't come in and say everything is fine. I've had colleagues tell me, Ishan, I didn't sleep last night. I have around 2 hours of sleep. So, my cognitive abilities will be lower. And that's okay. We can do this tomorrow, or we can still have a discussion, whatever. But like, I felt like even the moms who have taken that, I can't even believe I have to say the courageous thing, because it should not be a courageous path, but like moms who have been bold enough to say that out, I think I've also had to set expectations. And the people around them have to have the responsibility to normalize that, right? But that has stood out for me, for moms who have done that. And that makes, in some ways, my job easier to say as a manager, yep, absolutely, let's get this space. Hey, does it make sense to shift this meeting from 8:30 a.m. to maybe 9:30 a.m. on a weekly basis, so that it's easier for you to manage? Yep, let's do it, right? I think I would love for a world to exist where moms feel easy to say that, and their managers and team members feel very easy to accept it and move on as if it's just part of normal conversation.
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. I think it's up to your team, whether you're the one as a mom leading it or you're part of one. I think to just normalize and accept changes. And when you come back, you know how to brutally prioritize, you know how to time manage, which I could say that I've always done my work on time, and I've always been good at it. But after becoming a mom, I've become so much better at managing my time, becoming more efficient. So it teaches you a lot of like life skills, which you can use in your professional life. And I think it's important for your team members to understand and accept it, and that becomes like the new normal, the new way of life.
What is one change you would like to see in the world with regard to working moms, whether it's policies or legislation?
I think the whole 0 to 1 conversation, where you don't have to make a choice between either going in for an 8-hour day or not going in at all, and having the ability and good roles out there, right? Good projects or whatever you may choose to call them, having the ability to step back in slowly, because it's a huge change. It's a mental, physical, emotional. It's a huge change that the family goes through, right? That the mom goes through. So being able to accept that, and society also coming with open arms and saying that it's okay to take a part-time role and have those part-time roles available, and good part-time roles available. Because like Ishan said, that she was great before, she's only become greater after. So to have that choice.
So yeah, from a policy perspective, how can we drive more adoption around making flexible hours for returning moms almost mandatory, if there was a world like that, right, where they could take a choice versus just leaving a job or doing it full time? I think that would go a long way to ensuring that women don't fall off the ladder in some ways.
And also the one point that you mentioned, when you and I were talking, is that having women in the room, great. Having the decision makers in the room, that's even greater, whether it be a woman or a man.
Yeah, absolutely right. Like this whole idea of, again, find women sponsors who are going to help advance on these topics, right? why women sponsors? I mean, this is a responsibility. This is a problem for men as much as it is for women. So not just from a policy perspective, but also from a corporate governance perspective, from companies' perspective, how do you ensure that men are helping drive that change equally? And the onus is not on women to drive that change in companies or in policy. I think that's important as well to consider.